Paling penting di tingkat itu bagaimana karakter pejabat-pejabat Indonesia ini menjadi pelayan. Dia paham akan tugas-tugasnya ya. Walaupun saya katakan kita ini dari segi judul aja pegawai negeri sipil udah salah menurut saya. Seakan-akan dia yang punya negara ini. Ya, padahal yang betulnya kalau saya lihat bahasa Inggris public servant. Ya, pelayan publik gitu loh. Jadi kalau menurut saya ke depan harus tingkatkan bagaimana? Semua lini dari menteri sampai ke bawah.
Kan udah diganti ASN.
Kenapa? Ya betul, itu kan undang-undang ASN, di dalamnya kan ada PNS kemudian P3K ya, istilahnya begitu ya kan. Tapi siapapun kan tetap aja ada pejabatnya nih. Nah, menurut saya yang perlu dirubah adalah kultur pejabat ini. Bahwa
gampang
mereka adalah
mengubah kultur pejabat ini.
Kenapa?
Gampang nggak mengubah kultur?
Ya kita tidak bicara gampang tidak gampang, tapi adalah tugas kita semua termasuk saya untuk menyadarkan itu, dan saya harus optimis. Tidak boleh pesimis gitu ya, dengan berbagai tantangannya ya. Dan dengan cara itu saya pikir akan terjadi perubahan yang besar di negara kita.
Maju terus Ombudsman Republik Indonesia.
Harus dan tidak punya pilihan lain.
Pak Amsulian, terima kasih banyak untuk waktunya.
Terima kasih kembali.
Sukses untuk Ombudsman dan Pak Amsulian.
Sama Anda juga dan teman-teman lain supaya sukses terus.
Sampai berjumpa kembali.
Terima kasih.
Pemirsa, demikian perbincangan bersama dengan Ombudsman Republik Indonesia. Ada Bapak Amsulian Rifai selaku Ketua. Kita membahas mengenai bagaimana langkah dari Ombudsman mengawal pelayanan publik Republik Indonesia. Saya Prisa Samudatu pamit undur diri. Sampai jumpa kembali.
Indonesia and Mexico undergo counter-trade agreement. Hello, good evening viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from business, economic, and capital market sector. And as the pandemic is still going on, we will provide you the latest COVID-19 informations. So please stay safe by taking some simple precautions, such as physical distancing, wearing a mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hands, and having less mobility. With me, Lantai, and this is Market Headlines. Indonesia and Mexico have long fostered diplomatic relations, but economic cooperation can be the recipe for the long-lasting ties. Recently, Indonesia and Mexico bolster alliance to boost each economy through a counter-trade scheme.
In order to encourage exports to many countries, government continue to collaborate with many countries in exploring export opportunities. One of them is through the signing of Memorandum of Understanding with the business-to-business counter-trade scheme between Indonesia and Mexico. The pilot project will be the cooperation between Perusahaan Dagang Indonesia or PPI with Mexican company. The president director of PPI, Nina Sulistyawati, ensured that she would support the Ministry Trade's initiative through B2B counter-trade scheme, in particular to increase national exports and restore Indonesian economy. As a pilot project, counter-trade cooperation with Mexico will export urea fertilizer, coal fertilizer, coconut shells charcoal, and various spices. Meanwhile, Mexico offers the same sesame seed and a vegetable oil in the form of canola and sunflower seeds.
Dengan negara-negara potensial agar dipercepat. Ini adalah agenda prioritas karena menurut Presiden di masa-masa seperti ini Indonesia membutuhkan pasar ekspor baru. Tentu saja hasil koordinasi lintas kementerian dan lembaga ini dan kami PPI sebagai BUMN Trading di Indonesia melalui program Kementerian Perdagangan RI didukung oleh Kementerian BUMN RI. Imbal dagang secara bisnis to bisnis sangat kami prioritaskan untuk mendorong peningkatan nilai ekspor dan diversifikasi produk ke negara mitra dagang Indonesia. Salah satunya potensi dengan Meksiko.
According to the data from the Ministry of Trade, Indonesia's total non-oil and gas trade with Mexico in the period of January to April 2021 was recorded at $477 million. Of this amount, Indonesia's export to Mexico was recorded at $381 million, and Indonesia's import from Mexico were $96 million. So that the surplus for Indonesia was $285 million. Jakarta, Rahajo Pakmo for IDX Channel.
Recently, public criticized government for opening Indonesia for foreigners, while domestically government applies emergency COVID-19 restrictions. As an answer, Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment, Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, said that it is still accordance with the regulation.
Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment said that foreigners in Indonesia has complied with regulations. In addition to having a vaccine card, foreigners who enter Indonesia must do a PCR swab test and get negative result. After arriving in Indonesia, the foreigner must undergo a PCR swab test again to ensure its condition is healthy.
Orang asing yang datang ke Indonesia itu harus punya vaksin card. Jadi orang yang sudah divaksin paling tidak 1 kali, 2 kali malah kita bilang, 2 kali. Jadi tidak boleh orang datang ke Indonesia itu belum dapat kartu vaksin 2 kali. Itu satu. Nah setelah dia datang kemari, sebelum dia datang dia harus swab dulu, PCR maksudnya. Kalau dia sudah dapat PCR negatif, dia datang ke Indonesia, dia nanti di PCR lagi dan dia tinggal selama 8 hari di karantina. Setelah itu dia di PCR lagi, kalau dia negatif baru bisa keluar. Jadi prosedur ini ya kita lakukan dan berlaku di mana-mana di dunia. Hanya ada yang 8 hari.
Luhut Binsar Panjaitan also said that the procedures for foreigners applied in Indonesia is not much different from those set by several other countries. According to him, all foreigners who enter Indonesia have carried out the requirement procedures. In Jakarta, Rizkayu, IDX Channel.
Emergency COVID-19 restrictions leads to less people's mobility, and constantly it makes people transact through online services. In terms of banking industry, Bank BCA is aware of this and increases users' daily transfer limit through mobile banking to be 500 million rupiah in a day from previously only 250 million rupiah.
Less mobility is one of the ways to curb COVID-19 pandemic. At some point, it leads people to do everything through online services, including banking transaction. See this thing? Bank BCA has increased daily limit for mobile banking for Klik BCI users. Now users can transfer up to 500 million rupiah a day. Previously, Klik BCI users had a transfer limit of 250 million rupiah only. Through mobile banking, customers can easily perform various transactions such as paying electricity bills, paying telephone bills, and reloading credit easily. Executive Vice President Secretariat and Corporate Communications of BCA said that the increase in the daily transfer limit is expected to help customers' productivity in conducting banking transactions. IDX Channel reported.
Moving on to global update, Malaysian business groups warned of the mass unemployment in the country if the government persists with its strategy of prolonging a COVID-19 lockdown. Meanwhile, Japan will ship about 1.1 million more doses of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine to Taiwan. More stories on today's International Minute.
Israel has struck a deal to provide South Korea with vaccines in return for jabs in a future shipment. The deal involves about 700,000 of Israel's Pfizer doses that are due to expire soon. It comes just weeks after the Palestinian Authority called off a deal to receive 1 million doses from Israel, claiming the vaccines were too close to their expiry date. South Korea says the deal will allow it to accelerate vaccinations. A coalition of over 100 Malaysian business and trade groups has warned of mass unemployment in the country if the government persists with its strategy of prolonging a COVID-19 lockdown, which is now in its third month. Industries Unite or IU say that it would be counterproductive to overcome COVID-19 if Malaysians were to die of starvation. Twitter Incorporation no more enjoys liability protection against user-generated content in India, as the microblogging giant has failed to comply with new IT rules, the Indian government has said in a court filing. The statement is the first time Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government has officially said that Twitter has lost its immunity after repeatedly criticizing the company for non-compliance. Japan will ship about 1.1 million more doses of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine to Taiwan. Japanese Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi said after previously delivering 1.24 million doses last month. Motegi told that the vaccines would be shipped this week. In addition, Japan plans to ship 1 million doses each to Thailand, the Philippines, and Vietnam this week, following earlier donations to Indonesia and Malaysia. IDX Channel reports.
Okay, headlines will be right back after this quick break.
Oke, di usia yang masih sangat muda, apa yang membuat Jena waktu itu sangat tertarik di industri fashion?
Darah seni itu memang sangat kental lah di keluarga kami gitu. Jadi kecintaan aku terhadap fashion itu memang sudah terpupuk sih sejak aku.
Nah, gimana mengatasi persaingan tersebut khususnya di dalam negeri?
Ketika kita membuat sebuah brand, sebuah produk gitu, kita harus commit sih sama apapun yang kita keluarkan dari awal.
Pemerintah semakin percaya diri mampu merealisasikan ekspektasi pertumbuhan yang tinggi.
Kita lihat dari PMI market, kita sudah mencapai yang tertinggi.
Kementerian Keuangan memastikan tidak akan mengenakan PPN pada barang kebutuhan pokok.
Berbeda ketika sembako ini sifatnya premium.
Pemerintah kembali memutuskan untuk memperpanjang pemberlakuan pembatasan kegiatan masyarakat atau PPKM skala mikro.
Biden mengatakan Amerika Serikat akan membagikan setidaknya 20 juta dosis vaksin COVID-19 resmi Amerika Serikat.
Apakah ini lagi-lagi akan menjadi sentimen yang cukup positif atau justru sepertinya bisa jadi tidak sesignifikan sebelumnya?
Menurut saya sih kalau dilihat cerminan pasar beberapa hari terakhir sih nggak ada efeknya.
Dan indeks harga saham gabungan ditutup di level 5.833.860 dan ini merupakan level terendah dalam beberapa bulan terakhir.
The technology really does play up the opportunities, including in the postal sector. We cannot even deny that digital transformations is disrupting the way businesses operate, the workplaces, and most importantly, the way consumers behave. So what does digital transformation look like in the postal sector? We will discuss it more with Haryadi as Director of Operations and Information Technology of Pos Indonesia. Hello, sir.
Hello, Clara.
Hello, sir. Yes, as we know that the technology we have now really does play up the opportunities. So I would like to know, what is the latest technology that Pos Indonesia used to boost the sales and services?
Currently, we do the transformation not only in the technology, for sure. We are doing the transformation in business, product, and channel processing, HR, organization, and culture. In regard to the technology, we are trying to adapt whatever solution that's being required and available in the market. Like for example, we are now in the courier services. We are modernize our platform courier to have a full feature that's being needed by our industry and giving agility for us to operate and deliver quality of service. Right? This definitely will optimize not only our first mile, our indoor processing with our automated sorting machine, mid mile, even the last mile as well. While in the logistics sector, we are enhancing our complete capability from logistics digital platform, which consists from vendor management system, transport management system, warehousing management system, and OMS order management system. While in the fintech, we are leveraging our core Giro system into our digital platform as well. So that's what we are currently trying to boost up technology support in our business.
All right, sir, that's a very good answer for that. But as we know, that technology really ramps up our today's society. So let's just get straight to the point. How does digital transformations open up new streams of revenue to Pos Indonesia?
We are in the midst to build up our own super apps. We expected to bring all our services into digital. At this stage, we already have our, in the fintech, we have already PosPay. It's our digital fintech platform, which basically accommodates all the PPOB transaction, remittance, and transfer, while we are also onboarding our PosGo Syariah as well. And also, we are trying to utilize our CGS as well to prepare our post-saving product afterwards. In the courier sector, we are already our digital courier platform, Q-Posin Aja, which basically enable our customers to enjoy courier booking as well as door-to-door service.
All right,
and
sir.
also, yeah.
Yes, sir. You mentioned about fintech, you mentioned about Sharia sectors and logistics. That's really wonderful because as we know that the postal sector, if we can see historically, very depending on letter being sent. But right now, postal sector sees a very significant decrease of the letter being sent. So which sector that bring most revenue to Pos Indonesia right now?
That's true that in the aligned with the global trend, the letter volume is decreasing for sure, right? However, we know that parcel volume is also growing. Even though at this stage our growth is still less than market growth, right? But still the courier or postal service is still the most contributing in terms of our revenue stream, following with the fintech and as well as the logistics.
All right, sir. So other than mails, so Pos Indonesia have streams of revenue from the logistics side and also the fintech side. But when we talk about logistics, sir, this logistic market is very competitive. And how can Pos Indonesia compete with other competitors nowadays?
Yes, Pos is no longer enjoying the monopoly or nor market dominant in the postal services side, especially during the liberalization happening in the postal service since 2019. We know that basically the courier service now become the red ocean with so many licenses being given and also aggressive in the competition, right? But we have the strong fundamental to success. we know the market is still growing despite pandemic, so it's not the sunset industry for us. And the second, we also have our physical presence across the archipelago, right? We have the 4,800 our own office infrastructure and more than 60,000 agency across Indonesia. And definitely we have more than 25,000 is working for us. We are a designated operator for Indonesia and also member of the Universal Postal Union as well. So basically those what we have and what we need basically, of course, to successfully going through this post-transformation, improving our operational excellence as well as the cost leadership for sustainable growth.
All right, so you mentioned about sustainable growth, and we take a look at the Pos Indonesia asset. You have a lot of assets from Pos Indonesia, such as the physical offices and also the couriers, so many. And if we take a look from the other countries, sir, like Denmark and Sweden, they have PostNord, and I have to admit that the technology really ramps up the company. So does Pos Indonesia have planned to follow the steps by making some like machine bot learning for making sure that the delay is not very compatible with other delays? So do you have planned to make a transfer of knowledge with other countries in the postal sectors?
Yeah, I think that's a good example, right, for how actually the industry is trying to respond to the requirement, right? Certainly, improving quality of service and delivering the best customer experience is our goal as well. We implemented a number of initiatives taken place to achieve this goal. With our digital platform, we already have the full visibility of dashboard in regard of the letter or parcel movement from one timestamp to another timestamp. This is something that we currently implemented to avoid the delay. But using AI to prevent that case is also something good idea for following up.
All right, sir. Thank you for your time with us due to the limited time. That was the end of our conversations. Thank you for your time with us, sir.
Thank you.
So we can take a conclusion that Pos Indonesia right now is focusing on the digital market and also the transformations of the digital of the postal sector itself. And stay with us because market headlines will be right back after this quick break.
Upaya vaksinasi terus dilakukan untuk mencegah penyebaran COVID-19 varian jenis Delta dari India.
Minggu depan satu hari target yang kita berikan 100.000 bisa dicapai.
Awali hari Anda dengan beragam informasi bisnis terkini yang kami kemas dalam berita teraktual dan berkualitas. News Screen Morning menyajikan informasi ekonomi, bisnis, dan keuangan. News Screen Evening mengulas seputar ekonomi makro dan mikro, fiskal, moneter, dan sektorial Indonesia. Market Headline menayangkan berita ekonomi dan bisnis dalam bahasa Inggris. Saksikan program-program berita ekonomi dan bisnis terkini langsung dari sumbernya, live hanya di IDX Channel. Your Trustworthy Economic, Business, and Capital Market Channel.
Hello, I'm Clara Antawijaya. I'm Associate Producer and News Presenter on Market Headlines. As Market Headlines starts at 4:30 p.m., which is in line with the closing market, therefore we summarize market conditions only for you. And my job in here as a journalist, I give concise and accurate news for the audience. And also, being a journalist is not only a job for me, but it is also a passion.
Presiden Joko Widodo memiliki optimisme yang tinggi terkait dengan proses vaksinasi nasional yang sedang dilakukan saat ini. Bagaimana tanggapan dari pengusaha dengan angka ini?
Tentu membuat kita harus lebih berhati-hati.
Langkah apa yang tepat dilakukan untuk bisa meningkatkan pemahaman masyarakat?
Komunikasi publik adalah kunci. Jadi kita harus bisa menunjukkan kepada masyarakat bahwa vaksinasi itu penting.
Yes, viewers, let's take a look at Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. So earlier today, JCI was open at level of 6,062.77. And then approaching time the closing time of the first session, the index was on the level of 6,031.9. And the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. The index was closed at the level of 6,044.03. In short, JCI went down 0.05%. Next, we're going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got health as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 0.94%. We got technology that went up 0.6%. And we got energy that as the leader of the weakening trend that went down 0.82%. And industry that went down 0.51%. Moving on to the top gainers and the top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading sessions. We got agro that went up 12.17%. We got BRIS that went up 6.88%. We got Telkom Indonesia that went up 0.66%. And BABP that went up 4.9%. And meantime, for the top losers for today's trading sessions, we got BBRI that went down 1.8%. We got Aneka Tambang that went down 0.81%. We got Bank that went down 3.01%. And BHIT that went down 2.08%. Next, we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at the level of 14,507. Rupiah was also showing strengthening trends towards US dollar and was closed at the level of 14,469. In summary, rupiah went up 0.01%. Due to ongoing restrictions in Java and Bali, cement producer Indocement Tunggal Prakarsa stated that until now the company has not yet felt the impact of the restriction.
Although the government has implemented an emergency restrictions in Java and Bali on July 3rd to 20th, so far Indocement Tunggal Prakarsa has not felt the impact of the implementation of the emergency PPKM. According to the Director and Corporate Secretary of Indocement, Antonius Marcos, the company's performance in July 2021, which had only been rolling for less than a week, was still running as expected. Meanwhile, the company's performance in June was relatively good in line with forecast. Marcos also explained that the cement industry is a national strategic industry that is still allowed to operate fully in the midst of emergency PPKM. Even so, the company are still prepared to carry out anticipatory strategies if needed, namely implementing efficiencies in various lines of operation. IDX Channel reports.
The government's implementations of emergency PPKM in Java and Bali has made Asehat, where Indonesia increasingly strive to spur its online sales.
The government's implementation of Emergency Community Activity Restrictions or Emergency PPKM in Java and Bali has made Ace Hardware Indonesia increasingly strive to spur online sales. Citing IDX disclosure of information of the total number of outlets nationally, around 70% of ACE's outlets are located in Java and Bali. ACES has 212 outlets as of 9 June 2021. Facing the increasingly limited mobility of society, ACES has also prepared a number of strategies. One of them online shopping initiatives through ruparupa.com, Ace Online, marketplaces through Tokopedia and Shopee, and the interactive application Miss Ace. Although the emergency PPKM also has the potential to have an impact on its performance, so far ACES has maintained its target, which is to open 8 new outlets throughout 2021. IDX Channel report.
Fitch Rating Indonesia forecasted that the emergency restrictions will hamper the recovery of wholesale retail companies' financial performance, such as Sumber Alvaria Trijaya, Matahari Putra Bima, and Hero Supermarket.
The implementation of the emergency PPKM policy in Java and Bali in an effort to suppress the increase in the number of COVID-19 cases will hamper the recovery of the financial performance of wholesale retail companies such as Sumber Alvaria Trijaya, Matahari Putra Prima, and Hero Supermarket. The forecast was delivered by Fitch Ratings Indonesia analyst Ilham Kurniawan, He stated that improvements in the financial performance of wholesale retail companies will be limited by the implementation of the emergency PPKM. However, Ilham said Fitch believes that the acceleration of the vaccination program will support an increase in retail sales in the fourth quarter of 2021 and has the potential to compensate for losses in the previous quarter. Meanwhile, he continues supermarket or hypermarket operators such as Matahari Putra Prima and Herba Supermarket will be more vulnerable because most stores are located inside shopping centers. IDX Channel reports.
Top aside from market conditions as coronavirus pandemic takes big role on current economic situations, here is an update data about coronavirus globally. On the news close of market headlines today, please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, the Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. And as this COVID-19 pandemic is still going on, keep protecting your family by following health protocols. Wearing face masks, keep your distance and stay away from crowds. Wash your hands through running water. And also continue to support the vaccination program to accelerate the creations of herd immunity. I'm Clara Antawijaya. Have a nice evening and stay safe.